Welcome back to the show here on Arise News. Now, with the NSAS protest setting off an entire chain of reactions across a wide spectrum of Nigerians, most of it condemns the deadly shooting of young protesters in Lagos. And as Lagos continues to count the cost of the widespread destruction being visited on lives and property by aggrieved people, questions are intensifying in respect of what the authorities should have done to avert the unfortunate turn of events. And just how many laws are being broken in the current state around the city? Can restitution ever be achieved? Right now, we are being joined for a conversation on this by Pan-Africanist, revolutionary and musician Seun Kuti. Thanks for joining us this morning on The Morning Show, Seun Kuti.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning, Seun.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Ruben.
Good morning.
How about you?
I'm fine. Good to have you on The Morning Show.
Yeah.
I see you've been in the forefront of end bad governance, end oppression in Nigeria, end SARS, end injustice, and everything
that's bad in Nigeria.
So, I mean, I don't need to pose any question. I'll just ask you, Sorosuke, as they say.
You know, I think really that we're at a stage now where everybody has to pull their weight in Nigeria. You know, the previous speaker, you know, even though she said some progressive-like things, you could tell that, you know, her summation smacks of that Lagos elitism that has pushed us to where we are. You know, the soldiers of the politicians, the political thugs that went about looting most of the places, you know, this is real politics. I want to tell people, you know, like young people don't understand real politics. You know, real politics only happens when the powerful control the narrative completely. So for me, it's not a coincidence that many of the places that these thugs were attacking, Surulere, Lagos Island, Orile, Oshodi, strongholds of the ruling government, where they have the most influence in this state, you know. So for those things to happen, for me, it shows that it is the state power that was used to control the narrative of the people, you know, so that now the people can be blamed for the state action, and the state action can be used to subvert and diminish the action of the people. You understand? So this is all that happened. Because for me, nothing makes sense. There were protests going on for 2 weeks, no curfew, no looting. Suddenly, there's curfew, looting starts. And also, looting is the spirit of our oppressors, who sit in high offices and loot this country dry. So when people, you know, we have to link psychology, link the spirit. As I say, I don't say psychology. As an African, we need to use our own terminologies. We need to link the spirits. The people are looting on the streets. People are looting in high offices. There's a link in that spirit. And if you could hear the previous speaker, she was adamant that those people that were looting below must be brought to book. We cannot allow these things to happen, to continue. But when she was talking about the looting in the high places, she found the humanity. Oh, we have to change our mindset. Oh, we have to do better for the people. Oh, we have... None of that consideration goes for the bottom looters, right? You know, only the top looters do they consider, you know, and that is the real problem we have in our society in general, is that the elitism of the people of the ruling class, both political and business, is going to lead to the destruction of the little camaraderie that the common man shares with them anyway. So that's where we are. For me, the people of this country still have a lot to demand. You know, a lot of terms to put on the table for this present ruling class to acknowledge.
Now, Seun Kuti, let's talk about the 5 for 5. That's where the protest began from. with Nigerian youths coming out to say, we have these 5 demands and this is what we want.
The 5 for 5 is rubbish. Let's not waste time. 5 for 5 is the elitist request from the people in Lekki. You see, the rest of us that were protesting in Lagos, all over, you see, this is what this government don't understand. End SARS is a slogan. End SARS is just a slogan. Our mission is to end oppression in this country.
But Seun Kuti, you would agree, sorry to cut you there, you would agree that, because you just said it's for the elitists, so are you saying that everybody that was supporting 5 for 5 is part of the elitist class that we're fighting against, and everybody who isn't supporting the end oppression, so basically there are 2 different divides of the protests? Because as far as we know...
I don't think there are 2 different divides, there's 2 understanding of the protest.
Okay.
Some people understand that they just want to stop SARS, and some people understand that they want to stop oppression. Finish. That's just the 2 differences in the protest, you know, because see, SARS is in Nigeria. The Nigerian rich, the Nigerian elites have a way of only agitating, especially not even the elites, the professionals who are the accomplices of the elites, who are complicit in any crime that the elites commit. And that's why you see them, the elite can destroy millions of lives over a decade. Maybe they destroyed, in this last decade alone, maybe they destroyed 50 million Nigerian lives. You don't hear these professionals say a word, they are silent. But as soon as you touch one property, a scratch on a gate, one car is burnt, things that can be replaced, that's when they find their humanity. That's when they start shouting, hey, this is too much. We cannot take it. Oh my God. But people's lives being in this Lagos State government has destroyed the property of poor people non-stop for 8 years. Non-stop. It has been 8 years since Ambode up until this Sanwo-Olu. The last term of Fashola, that was all they were doing. Even the artist village in the Gomu was not spared. We did not hear these people shouting, why is Lagos State destroying property? Why is Lagos State destroying the lives and property of the poor? You understand? But now something, you know, so there's a complete divide, you know, there's a complete divide. But that being said, the professionals of this country, they have a way of always only aligning with the oppressor. You understand? So they can only find problem when it affects them. And once they can find a way to solve it for themselves, then nobody should complain again. That if it has been solved for the Nigerian professional, it means it has been solved for everybody. So there's no light. We can buy gen. No need to agitate for good light. There's no good road. We can buy jeeps. No need to agitate for good road. Poor people's children can't go to school. Public schools are bad. We can afford private school. There's no need to agitate. Public hospitals are bad. Poor people are dying in there. Bad medicine, bad treatment. We have private hospital. We can go abroad. We don't care. That's the same mindset that was brought to SARS. SARS is a police wing that also abuses people with iPhone and Mercedes-Benz. So for them, that was the problem. That the rich were also being harassed. People with Benz, people with iPhone. But the rest, police can continue as if only SARS is brutal in Nigerian police. I live in Ikeja. I see what Nigerian police, that is not even SARS, do in our inner cities. They just carry a bus. One day, I had to chase a police van, a police bus, all this downfall that they paint police color, because they just basically kidnapped my assistant. It was working. This one not be SARS, just because he was an inner city young man, no dreadlock, no tattoo, nothing. He was just a young poor boy in the inner city. One of the boys that assisted. I had to chase the van to get him out of it. They just picked him on the road like kidnapper. Threw him in the van.
If I may just interject here. Yes, you disagreed with some of the views expressed by Seun Kuti, Abiola Dosunmu, Royal Highness, Queen Mother of Lagos. Well, I guess she's entitled to her own opinions, and she has a right to take a position. But I would like to ask you, the President of Nigeria, all the issues you have raised, he has on many occasions in the last 2 weeks assured Nigerians that he will address those issues. He also addressed Nigerians in a national broadcast yesterday. Doesn't that give you some assurance, some confidence, some hope, some faith that President Buhari is really prepared to address all the issues that you raise, that other Nigerian youths also raise?
Are you going by the 12-minute speech of a couple of nights ago? I mean,
no, it was
this
12
speech
minutes.
Was not. The speech was not to Nigerian people. The speech was to the international community mainly, and his supporters. You know, what the speech basically said is, these people are only protesting against me because I am me. There's nothing wrong with Nigeria. You know, they just don't like me, and I don't know why they don't like me. Look at everything I've done for them. I gave them trader money. I gave them farmer money. I gave them this money. I gave them that one. I gave them this one. Yet they still don't like me. We don't know what is going. Listen, it is a shame that the political and business elites of this country want to act as if they are naive about what is going on in this country. A class of people who have weaponized poverty against their own people, who use poverty as a tool. As we are all seeing right now, there are warehouses full of food while people are hungry in this country. This is the same people that tell us that they are giving us trader money, farmer money. Nigerians are not beggars. We don't want to beg. We don't want to be giving handouts in our own land. We want to be giving equal share of the Commonwealth, equal access to the Commonwealth, equal beneficiary status of the Commonwealth. What am I saying, people? I'm saying Nigerian people, right? We are tired of being employees. We are reclaiming our citizenship. We are citizens of this country. This is not a company. You see, the political and business elite of Nigeria, they think this is a company. But this is not a company. This is a country. And we, the people of this country, are going to let them understand we are not employees, we are citizens.
Okay.
And President Buhari's speech does not project the fact that he was speaking to citizens. He was talking like a man speaking to his employees.
All right, so Seun Kuti, from what I've understood from what you've said so far, first of all, you said the 5 for 5 is absolute nonsense. You don't understand what that is about, that it's a fight against oppression. Now, with regards to that protest, which, I mean, for a lot of people believed that was what the protest and the hundreds of people were gathering was for, we began to see some responses to that. And then it ended with this. The fight has become a lot of things, like you said, end oppression. Some people are still standing on 5 for 5. The Feminist Coalition is there with demands as well. My question to you is now, based on everything you've just said, what is the way forward? We've mentioned a lot of issues, the rich versus the poor, the fact that the president addressed Nigerians like we are employees. Oppression is wide and it's a lot. So as people have been incited and understand that this is a real problem, without giving them and leaving them blank as to what they need to do. So people don't just go out on the streets and they're not sure what they're doing or how to systemically and strategically handle this. What is the way forward?
The way forward is for us to organize. You know, we need to organize as a people and create the political platform that can bring our just hopes, dreams, aspirations to reality. You know, I think this is probably the 1,000th time I've said this statement last week. You know, but it is important that we, the people of Nigeria, begin to organize ourselves. We need to organize ourselves to create the political platform that will represent us, because obviously the love and dedication that is needed to make that happen doesn't exist in today's political class, be it APC, be it PDP. None of them have shown the will to spend the political capital that the Nigerian people will need to move themselves out of poverty. You know, even the president was saying he has just launched a 10-year program to take us out of 100 million people out of poverty. A man that only has 3 years in office is telling us he has launched a 10-year program. You know, it's things like this that we as a people we used to find out that these people don't care about us. They feel they are CEOs and MDs of a company that makes $220 million a day, and that is how they behave. You know, so we must organize. Organizing is our only weapon, is our only power, because the truth is, it is also these political and business elites that foster violence in Nigeria. You know, they are the ones that behave in this way. They're the ones that weaponize poverty and create hoodlums and touts so they can use them for their own benefit. You know, so we the people must elevate our consciousness higher than that. We must relate with the people. You know, none of this can happen without the Nigerian professional. That's why I always mention the professionals when I talk, because the Nigerian professional must begin to align with the Nigerian people instead of aiding and abetting the corrupt political elites.
Well, Seun, I would like you to respond to something. One of the fallouts of the protest by the NSAS protesters is this allegation that the older generation failed or disappointed the younger generation of Nigerians. And there's been some kind of attempt at historical revisionism in the protest. And yet, here you are. I mean, your dad was at the forefront of that revolution. Many of his friends...
My grandmother, too.
Yes, of course. You know, and even your great-grandfather, I mean, you come from a tradition of protest, you know. But these young people who are at the barricades today, they're saying, oh, the older generation failed us. They didn't do well. They were not there for us. We're suffering because the older generation has been irresponsible. Do you share that view? Because that's something that we need to talk about.
Oh, well, personally, I have to say, I don't differentiate Nigerians by age, by generation. I'm not really one of those ageism people. If you follow my interviews and when I say the Nigerian people, I always say the Nigerian people, because this youth versus the youth are a strong demographic in Nigeria politically and for the energy that it can bring to the movement. But the solution to the whole of Nigeria problem is in the hands of the Nigerian people, not the Nigerian man, not the Nigerian woman, not the Nigerian child, not the Nigerian youth, not the Nigerian adults, but the Nigerian people. We must come together to realize that we as a people go through the same oppression. And we need to come together to rid ourselves of that reality. So it is not really about how Nigerian people, how this ageism narrative is also because most people are ahistorical. And why are we ahistorical in Nigeria? It is because history is not taught in schools. And even when history is taught in schools, it is not taught properly. So people that have not been taught about their history properly would only learn the narrative, you understand, that is pushed out there. And this is the narrative that is pushed out there. Not only in ageism, there's also tribalism. You know, our oppressors push any narrative in our society and community that divides the people. Whatever it is, they are happy to push that. You know, be it ageism, be it tribalism, and things like that. They push it because it divides the people and gives them more power.
All right. Seun Kuti, I always make reference to what happened with the protest because, I mean, you just obviously made that clear distinction. I want to ask a direct question. Throughout this protest, when it began at first, and there were different avenues for a leader to step up, when the meeting was with the IGP with Davido, that happened. He said, listen, I'm not your leader. When there was an opportunity to have two representatives, nobody stepped up because apparently the 5 for 5 NSAS protest, which, as you said, is beyond NSAS, didn't have a particular leader. You mentioned we need to form a political group. If within this entire process, where there were avenues to make a change, not one person was able to come up and say, I want to do this, I want to stand as the leader, you know, this support. How do we know that if this party comes together, it's not going to be the same thing?
Well, I mean, we as Nigerian people, we need to see this party as our own and do anything that we can to make sure that it works. You know, a political party by its own definition constitutionally must come up with leaders. You know, what I don't like is the fact that Nigeria has predestined leaders, right? So, because of the dehumanization of the people by our oppressors, you know, the majority, and now they call us the masses of Nigerians instead of the citizens. It's only Nigerian government are here always calling us the masses, not our citizens, you know. So, these citizens have been dehumanized so long that we all believe that they cannot lead. They don't have a right to lead. We cannot pick leaders from within these people. So the leaders of Nigeria have to be the special animals, the pets of the oppressor, And so for me, my own argument was that why I did not step up as leader or say anything about leadership was, it was alarming to me that a government we just elected last year is telling the people to go and elect another government, basically to go and come and negotiate with our president. So for me, that just didn't make sense. It is a sign of the laziness and the lack of dynamism that exists in every aspect of our political life in Nigeria. So people who just elected, instead of them to do their job and carry the mantle of leadership, we are the leaders of this country, we will do our responsibility. They are telling us to go and find another set of leaders to come and negotiate with them because they are now too big to talk to the people. You see, this is the problem. They are now too big. They are the champ. Go and find us some of our special pets to come and talk to us. Because we are all animals to them, so they can't talk to animals. So we are our pets. Let our pets pick some of our pets. Because when they're talking about picking the leader, it wasn't as if they were opening it up to the population. It wasn't as if they were opening up to the common man in Nigeria. Everybody, they were looking up to celebrities and influencers and all these people that are already, most of us, in the pockets of the politicians already. Well, so sure. For me, it is important. It is important that if we're even going to pick leadership in this generation, in this time amongst the people, then it should be open to the people of this country, not just a specific class, of people.
Okay, Seun, we're interested in the way forward. As we wrap up, what are those specific things you would like to recommend, either to President Buhari or the federal government of Nigeria or the Lagos state government in terms of the way forward? Things that should be done, short-term, medium-term, long-term.
Well, they've reached out to me a lot, and I've said for the short term, my own terms to engage with this government in the short term is that the Lagos state government must give us the complete truth. If they want me to engage in any way, shape, or form, then the complete truth of what happened at the Lekki toll gate must be told to the people. I will not start any conversation that is built on a lie, that is built on deceit, built on duplicity, and things like that. That already shows that there's no honesty on the side of our oppressors. Well, the oppressor can never be honest. For me, that's short time. Medium term is that the Senate and the House of Assembly, put pressure on the presidency, or at least they put pressure on the presidency to sack his service chiefs and the IGP while this investigation goes on. Because no criminals should investigate themselves. I don't want to say they are criminals, but if you are at the top of the organization, when all these bad things were happening, then you are in some way complicit. There's nowhere in the world where you will be allowed to investigate yourself. So even if not all the service chiefs, let's say the Navy and the Air Force were in there, the Army chief and the Chief of Staff, they've got to go. And the Nigerian Senate must vow to the Nigerian people they're going to cut 90% of their jumbo pay. They have to cut 90% of their jumbo pay. These 400 people cannot be spending 128 billion naira in a year where people are dying on the street of hunger. So that jumbo pay has to go. Now, in the long term, we, the Nigerian people, must support our own communities to develop a platform politically that will represent us, that will take us forward. This is not a 3-year project. This is not a 10-year project. The work we as the Nigerian people have to do is about 100 years to at least be sure that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children will never come back to a situation where few of us oppress the many of us. So this is the long-term goal. The long-term goal must be the establishment of a people's party that will bring about, the Nigeria that fulfills the potential of its people. I look at this street, all these hooligans, who created them? All these touts. This is the weaponization of poverty. People tell me, your protest was, they hijacked the protest. They hijacked the protest. When political rallies turn violent, as it always does in Nigeria. We don't hear people saying thugs have hijacked the protest, thugs have hijacked the political rally, thugs have hijacked the election. As they carry ballot box and do all those kind of things, we never say that. We never say that. We still believe in the integrity of the process. So why suddenly now we don't want to believe in the integrity of the people because some violence has happened defeats me still. You know, this is where the media needs to come in. This is where the media narrative needs to be on the side of the people. You know, rich Nigerians express themselves with violence all the time. Even in the most hollowed chambers of our democracy, when those rich men are angry, they begin to throw chairs and break the whole place. We don't suddenly say they're no longer honorable. We still call them Your Excellency. So poor people are angry outside. And the only thing the media has for them is name calling. You know, this is part of the problem. So this is part of the long-term things that we as a people need to come together and resolve. Our narrative must empower us as the oppressor's narrative empowers him. So our long-term goal must be the establishment of a party that begins to bring the aspirations of Nigerian people and fulfill their potentials. All our historians are thugs on the streets. All our rocket scientists are thugs on the streets. All our chemical engineers are thugs on the streets. Any high job, all our talented robotics engineers, they are all thugs on the streets because there is no program for them in this country. Anyone that is still in this country is a thug on the street, hustling. You understand? Because he cannot travel abroad to go and fulfill his potential. So Nigeria must begin to fulfill the potential of these people and remove this thug and hoodlum from our mouth until we're able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Seun Kuti, an Africanist artist and citizen.